Edited. You already know what it is. Live, uncut. You already know what it is. 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 Live, uncut, unedited. Tell it, tell it, tell it, tell the truth, and shame the devil. All right, come on in, people. Come on in, come on in. We live, uncut, unedited. Come on in. Come on in, come on in. Too blessed to be stressed. That's what I'm talking about. I'm definitely that. Too blessed to be stressed. I tell you, this is live, uncut, unedited people. Live, uncut, unedited. We got some things to talk about. We got some things to catch up with. Yep. Got some things to talk about. Come on in, people. Come on in, come on in, come on in. This is live, uncut, unedited. You already know what it is. Live, uncut, unedited. All right, people. Y'all know what time it is. Do they have any information on that young lady that was found on the south side in the garbage? Not to my, I haven't heard anything. It could be out there, but I haven't heard anything. I'm just saying that because I don't know everything. I didn't do the follow up. All right, Anthony. Danisha, what's going on? I see you. I see you. I see you. Somebody said I had an altercation with a violent white person day. Wow. Muhammad, what's up, bro? One love, one love, one love, one love. Monique McCoy, what's up, Monique? I see you again. Too blessed to be stressed. All right. All right. So sad. Prayers to the victim family. Used to own that house right directly across the street. It's sad to say that that block looked like that. It was once beautiful. Wow, Monique. That block is toe up. I'm telling you. Brandon has my vote. Thank you, Stacy. Don Ray, thank you. Don Ray, good evening. Good evening. Good evening. All right, people, we got to come on in. We need some folks that's going to come on in and rap with us. Tell the truth and shame the devil. One thing about the truth, you don't have to rehearse it. That's why you don't need no script to come on this show. Just tell the truth and shame the devil. For real. For real. Don Ray, Robert, what's up? They are racist because I was assisting the senior citizen to the polls. Wow. Wow. Somebody say, why should we vote for Brandon? Your opinion. Why not? Yeah, she right that was a beautiful and safe area years ago. Okay. All right. Somebody said, why should we vote for Brandon? Okay. Why should we? Tell me. Tell me. I voted for him. Come on.
How to commodify black life since they said, okay, Emancipation Proclamation. Don't y'all know that? The wealth of this nation was built on the backs of black people, and they still want to get their half measure. Don't y'all know that? So understand what we're against. Understand what we're up against. We're up against white people who say, if you teach black history, white kids' feelings gonna get hurt. Are you kidding me? That's Paul Vallis. We up against white men and white people who say, Charter schools is the best way to go, but they ain't made Walter Payton charter. Lincoln Park, Lane Tech, Lincoln Elementary, Newberry. If charter schools is the best we got to offer, why they only in black neighborhoods? I'm gonna need y'all to think about that. I'm gonna need y'all to demand more because you deserve it. I'm gonna need us to demand more because we deserve it. Don't y'all know that white people have been trying to figure out how to commodify black life since they said, okay, Emancipation Proclamation? Don't y'all know that? The wealth of this nation was built on the backs of black people, and they still want to get their half measure. Don't y'all know that? So understand what we're against. Understand what we're up against. We're up against white people who say, if you teach black history, white kids' feelings don't get hurt. Are you kidding me? That's Paul Vallis. We're up against white men and white people who say, charter schools is the best way to go, but they ain't made Walter Payton charter. Lincoln Park, Lane Tech, Lincoln Elementary, Newberry. If charter schools is the best we got to offer, why they only in black neighborhoods? I'm gonna need y'all to think about that. I'm gonna need y'all to demand more because you deserve it. I'm gonna need us to demand more because we deserve it. Don't y'all know that white people have been trying to figure out how to commodify black life since they said, okay, Emancipation Proclamation? Don't y'all know that? The wealth of this nation was built on the backs of black people, and they still want to get their half measure. Don't y'all know that? So understand what we're against. Understand what we're up against. We're up against white people who say, if you teach black history, white kids' feelings don't get hurt. Are you kidding me? That's Paul Vallis. We're up against white men and white people who say, charter schools is the best way to go, but they ain't made Walter Payton charter. Lincoln Park, Lane Tech, Lincoln Elementary, Newberry. If charter schools is the best we got to offer, why they only in black neighborhoods? I'm gonna need y'all to think about that. I'm gonna need y'all to demand more because you deserve it. I'm gonna need us to demand more because we deserve it. Don't y'all know that white people have been trying to figure out how to commodify black life since they said, okay, Emancipation Proclamation? Don't y'all know that?
They don't want to hear this.
The wealth of this nation was built on the backs of black people, and they still want to get their half measure. Don't y'all know that? So understand what we're against. Understand what we're up against. We're up against white people who say, if you teach black history, white kids' feelings don't get hurt. Are you kidding me? That's Paul Vallis. We're up against white men and white people who say, charter schools is the best way to go, but they ain't made Walter Payton charter. Lincoln Park, Lane Tech, Lincoln Elementary, Newberry. If charter schools is the best we got to offer, why they only in black neighborhoods? I'm gonna need y'all to think about that. I'm gonna need y'all to demand more because you deserve it. I'm gonna need us to demand more because we deserve it. Don't y'all know that white people have been trying to figure out how to commodify black life since they said, okay.
All right, I got one more, people. Listen to this.
Race whose numbers kept climbing. He is the embodiment of starting from the bottom, now we here. So no matter what happens, Brandon okay, but are we okay without Brandon? Are regular black people, poor people, Latin people, white people in this city okay without that? And his numbers kept climbing, kept climbing. Don't you know he the only person in this race whose numbers kept climbing? He is the embodiment of starting from the bottom, now we here. So no matter what happens, Brandon okay, but are we okay without Brandon? Are regular black people, poor people, Latin people, white people in this city okay without that? And his numbers kept climbing, kept climbing. Don't you know he the only person in this race whose numbers kept climbing? He is the embodiment of starting from the bottom, now we here. So no matter what happens, Brandon okay, but are we okay without Brandon? Are regular black people, Latin people, white people in this city okay without that. And his numbers kept climbing, kept climbing. Don't you know he the only person in this race whose numbers kept climbing? He is the embodiment of starting from the bottom, now we here. So no matter what happens, Brandon okay, but are we okay without Brandon?
Right there, I got one more I want to share with you guys. This is where I was at today, so just share a little bit of this today.
The weather, what we have to do.
Martin Luther King.
He has many names.
All right, hold on. Here's a brother who was locked up for 25 years.
Spirit in which.
And exactly what.
This is one.
So we got a problem with some trust to believe.
This brother been locked up for 25 years.
Martin Luther King and everybody before. Those who have fought, those who continue to fight, those who, no matter what they went through, found a way to prevail is the same spirit that comes down to me, my brother, and everybody.
We're going to go back to that, but we're going to jump on this. I'm going to come back. All right, Erica, we're going to come back to that.
What's up, Martin? What's up, everybody?
Hey, what happened out there today? What they saying on the ground?
Yeah, so right now, just reporting from the battlefield. So our boy Brandon is out here doing the dang thing. Brandon is doing what he is supposed to be doing. He is out here shaking hands. He is on the streets, like out in the communities, just like meeting people, talking with people. He's at voter sites, meeting with folks during early voting. So he is doing his job. He's everywhere right now. So kudos to Brandon. You are doing what you're supposed to be doing. So it's what we got to do, right? We got to do our part. Brandon doing his job. He doing his part. We got to do our part. One of the events that I thought was really dope today was an Asian American rally in Chinatown, which was really dope. It had different Asian American elected officials and leaders there, like Theresa Ma and other Asian state reps and elected folks and organizers were all out there. It was a great turnout, a large crowd over there in Chinatown. And they had the Brandon Johnson signs, but in different Asian languages like Filipino, Mandarin, like all the different languages. And you know, that's a very tight-knit community. It can tend to be a little isolated. So one of the big asks for the folks there, one of the call to actions was when you get home, when you get back to Chinatown, when you get back to your neighborhoods, talk to your grandmama, talk to your mama, talk to your elderly Asian parents and tell them why Brandon is better, get them to the polls. And so it was a really community-based thing based on how their culture operates, which is how we have to do this thing. And then also there was a rally with Latino folks, with Latino leaders and organizers, activists speaking out against Paul Vallas and the things that he's done to our communities. And they also are, I think it's a 12th Ward IPO, which is a Latino organization, and Unidos por Brandon. They're doing like entire canvases of the Latino neighborhood. There was also a canvas for the Black neighborhoods on the west sides and the south sides, like bus loads of people ready to knock on doors. So we out here, y'all, we doing the dang thing. And me personally, I'm working with Students for Brandon, which is particularly centered around getting the youth out to vote. So at the rally the other day, we had tables set up and we was catching all the young people and getting their cell phone numbers so that we could do like text reminders, like after all of this fun and rallying, reminding them get to the polls, so we able to contact them directly. And yeah, everybody got to do their part, y'all. Everybody got to do their part. So it's going good out here on the streets.
But can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Why should we vote for Brandon Johnson? I'm asking you a question.
Yes, that's a great question. Why should we vote for Brandon Johnson? Listen, y'all, we have had many times, or we've had some times, right? Particularly, I would say Obama, right? Many of us remember that time. We were so excited. We were so energized. And when Obama was in office for those 2 terms, many of us didn't see the change we expected, right? And that caused a lot of us to become disappointed and disillusioned. And the problem is that we tend to be a lot harder on Black folks than we are on white folks, in the sense that we say, oh, we tried it with a Black person. We tried that already, and we're ready to throw our hands up when another Black person come around that could really make a change, right? But meanwhile, we give, how many white people have we given chance after chance after chance after chance? How many white people have led us, right? And so we can't have that kind of mentality when another Black man comes along that has this kind of energy that may remind us of something, may remind us of Obama that disappointed us or didn't turn out the way we thought, and we just reject it immediately. We can't be like that, y'all. And Brandon is bringing us an opportunity to take a fight. See, the thing that was different with Obama was a community organizer, yes, quote unquote, but Obama came out of an elected official. He progressed up the ranks from state rep, state senate to senator to president in the traditional way. The difference between Obama and Brandon is Brandon comes out of the movement. Brandon comes out of the protests on the streets. When we were getting brutalized by CPD, when we was getting arrested, Brandon comes out of that guild. That's different than Obama, y'all. Show me a picture where Obama was sitting in front of a door protesting anything, right? He was too busy trying to keep his nose clean, so to speak, or like stay out of the melee and be proper. And that was one of the reasons why Obama was somewhat disappointing, is when he finally did get that amount of power, he was steeped in respectability. He was steeped in wanting to not scare white people. Mm-hmm. That was Obama's Achilles heel. He didn't want to scare white people. He was afraid to say certain things and do certain things and be bold because he wanted to appease those folks. And yes, he was raised by white grandparents. White might have a part to play in it. The way we are brought up has a part to play in how we may live in the world. So he grew up around tons of white people having to keep his Blackness at bay for his own safety. But this ain't it. This ain't the same thing, y'all. We got a Black man who got on a stage in front of a ton of white people the other day and said, Black liberation is everyone's liberation. Mm-hmm. When have y'all ever heard Obama say something like that? That takes boldness. That is somebody who is tied to a movement. And so Brandon is out here fighting for things that we all have been fighting for in these streets for years, for decades, y'all. This is a culmination of a battle that we've been in. You don't fight and fight and fight. And for those of you who know what I'm talking about, that have been out there, we don't always win. And we still go back out there again. We keep going back out there. We are battle tested. But the biggest mistake you could ever make when you in a fight, when you a warrior, is not recognizing when you're winning. Learn to recognize when you're winning. We're winning, y'all. Mm-hmm. And it's time to take this thing to victory. It's time to take this thing to the top. This is a long fought fight. This ain't somebody just climbing a political ladder the traditional way, trying to make white people comfortable. This is different. This is somebody that comes from the fight. And when you've been out there, y'all, I'm speaking right now to the people that's been out there in the streets with us. Okay. That's who I'm talking to right now. Y'all know what I'm talking about. All of that, the pepper spray, the CPD shoving their bicycles into our shins and our knees, getting manhandled, even when you a woman like me, a small 5'1" woman like me, getting manhandled by grown CPD officers. I was protesting for No Cop Academy at City Hall when I was pregnant with my son, and a white CPD officer punched me in my stomach when I was 5 months pregnant at that protest. And guess what he did? He laughed. when I cried out that I was pregnant. And they had to take me to the freaking hospital to check on my baby. So for those of you that's been out here, you know what I'm talking about. This ain't the same thing as Obama. This is different. Because when you've been in this battle, when you done shed blood, when you done cried tears, when you've been out in these streets, getting this seat, getting this mayor's seat is bigger than you. It's bigger than you. Because if you ain't the one that the CPD was whooping their ass, you was standing next to a person who the CPD was whooping their ass. And we remember their faces. Jeanette Taylor, one of the best older women we got in this city right now. I never forget it. Before Jeanette Taylor ran for office, we was at the protest. And the CPD grabbed Jeanette in City Hall and manhandled this Black woman. And I remember they grabbed me at the same time. And when they was grabbing us, we locked eyes. And when I locked eyes with Jeanette, there was a look in her eyes that said, I'm coming for all y'all now. And guess what? She ran for alderwoman and she won. That's how we are. When we get these seats, it's personal. It's personal. Because of what you done did to our people. Because of what you done did to our friends. Because of how much you resisted us. How when we used to go to City Hall during public comment and got on the mic in front of Rahm and Lori and all of them different elected officials, and we only had 3 minutes to speak. And Rahm would turn his back, even while children were on the mic trying to fight for their schools. He would turn his back. Lori would be on her cell phone, keying with the person next to her like she playing Candy Crush. We know what it's like to be ignored by our elected officials. So Brandon is a part of this sect. So this is different, y'all. This is different. Brandon is the choice, but not because of just Brandon, but because of what's coming with him. Because of what's coming with him.
Brandon got some warriors on his side.
The warriors, baby.
That's what he got.
The warriors.
Listen, let me say something, Erica. You got a lot of these elected officials that ran behind Paul Vallis. If you look at some of them, they don't have no warriors. They have no warriors. They don't have nobody to go knock door to door. Brandon got some warriors behind him.
That's
warriors.
Right.
And they all not Black either. They all different shades of color.
That's
and you
right.
witnessed that the other day.
That's
so
right.
I'm telling y'all people, they afraid. These elected officials out here, they afraid because they know their numbers going to get pulled. And we're going to run somebody against you and get you up out of there. You've been listening. You've been avoiding doing the right thing in these communities. Now is a new day. It's a new day. You've been cheating the communities. You've been taking bribes and handouts and all types of things. It's all about what you can get. And you're only catering to a certain part of your community. Now, I see aldermen do that. Only a certain part of their community. I went on a crime scene today. That house should have been boarded up. A abandoned, vacant house should have been boarded up. And I told that young lady, I said, if you ever see anything like that, and you got girls, you always call the city and make them board this house up.
Yes.
Don't ever. Ladies, if you see any vacant, abandoned apartments on your house, the door is wide open, call 311 to get somebody over there and board the house. Call your alderman. Do something. I just want to throw that out there. But Brandon got some warriors with him. I'm telling you.
That's right. That's right. That's right, Martin.
They started at 2. Go ahead. They started at 2.3%. And now look, they just rising. A lot of y'all didn't know who Brandon was. Yep. Now you know him now.
Yep.
I tell you. Go ahead, Erica.
And I just want y'all to know I'm talking about what I know. I'm not talking about just like, oh, I see Brandon, I like Brandon. I voted for Brandon the first time. Okay?
Me too.
I voted for Brandon the first time. And I voted for him the second time. So I'm telling y'all what I know, because the way I met Brandon was before he was ever a commissioner, elected to anything. It was back when I was in college at protests as a college student with other college students. And you know what Brandon was doing? He was wearing an orange neon vest as a marshal. to keep us rambunctious college students from getting hit by a car. He was in the background. He wasn't on the mic. He wasn't trying to be on the camera. He was serving. And the scripture says, the greatest among you shall be your what?
Servant.
That's how I know Brandon. When he was just doing his part. And that's the very people that we need to put in positions of power. And you are absolutely right, Martin. They are terrified over there. Because they don't got warriors. They don't got an army like that. They already know what time it is.
Listen.
Brandon, get up in there, baby. You got a guild of warriors ready to run against you.
Yeah. And they know it. That's why all them elected officials had to run behind the white man. That's why they did it. It was about money too, but they know y'all ain't got a leg to stand on. Listen, you got young, old, progressive, young, progressive. Listen, you got straight, you got gay, you got preacher, you got everybody under the umbrella, and they all working together. Y'all ain't
That's right.
Some of y'all young folks ain't never seen a move like this. Now, those of us that have been around a while, we've seen a little move like this. But this is a move, and you see it. You listen, you are witnessing history.
Yes.
Paul Vallis have gone in the community and promised these violence prevention guys $100 million in violence prevention grant. That's why he got them working. But if they didn't get it up front, it ain't gonna happen.
I'm telling you.
It ain't gonna happen. I'm gonna tell you.
I'm telling you.
Listen.
And it's time for us to also look at the fact that, like Brandon said at the rally, he was like, the table is gonna be big and there's room for all of y'all. It's just that your seat might be a little smaller. And see, that's the problem with some folks. They want the big chair. They want the big seat. They don't understand what it is to be equal with the people. They don't understand what it is to not want to be the what's that movie that said HNIC, head Negro in charge.
But let me just say something. This is what I see. If this ain't enough for you to vote for him, here's a man that got a clean record. Okay. No scandal, none. Been married 25 years, a black man, an educator, smart, a politician. I mean, and he's black, articulate. You didn't like Willie Wilson because you said he couldn't talk. So here's a young man, 47 years old now. Why not? What better image that we can point at and say, hey, son, that's who I want you to be like him. That's who I want you. You see that young fella? See, Erica, and I know you're a spiritual sister, but see, and I got Pastor Trace on here, but let me just say this. God would take nothing and make something out of it.
Amen.
Brandon just came up, just blossom. And that man, I love being black.
Yes.
I love being black. That's one thing I can say about him. Now, let me just say this. He's not just only going to be the mayor for black people. He's going to be the mayor for everybody too as well. Now, he got to spread the table. So I'm telling y'all, don't be on the wrong side of history because we're going to the polls. We're voting early. Young and old. When you see the young people motivated, you know it's trouble.
You already know it's the trouble.
When I seen them white folks at the UIC, I said to my mind, it's over. It's over.
Yep.
It's over. I mean, I have not, listen, Paul Vallis, I have not seen none of his rallies look like that. None of them.
Never.
None of them, never.
And can I say something, Martin? The thing about Paul Vallis's crew, so Paul Vallis has a quote unquote multiracial coalition, if you want to call it that. But look at what it really is. It's racist white people in the city of Chicago, the most racist ones. It's Latinos, Asian Americans, immigrant folks that are scared of black people. They're voting based on fear of black people. And it's black people who are afraid of change. These are the type of people, they might be for different races, but they don't even be in the same rooms together. They don't even hang together. Like, they're not even the type of people that will that will want to be around each other. It's weird. It's just all weird. They all just like secretly, but meanwhile, what we saw at the rally, all those races together, right? We was together. And we wanted to be there together because we knew we shared the same mission. We knew we was fighting for the same thing, regardless of our race, our background. It was hugs. It was love. It was, you could feel the energy. Like we was hyping each other up. It's not what's going on Paul Vallis side. Them people don't even like each other for real.
You got a bunch of, listen, let me just say that. The scripture said there's no honor among thieves. No honor among thieves.
None.
You got a bunch of folks that's in one room, know they don't like each other. They ain't got nothing in common but some money. That's it.
Exactly.
They have no values but some money. That's it. A man sent me a picture of Paul Vallis serving food over there with Jamal Green over there on Stone Ave. He said Paul Vallis never looked up, just kept his head down, giving people food. He never gave no eye contact. Listen, people. Paul Vallis is in trouble, and he know he's in trouble.
Exactly.
Y'all want to come out with his water bill and parking tickets?
By the way, Martin, as of I think yesterday, Brandon paid everything off, so y'all can stop talking about it.
Yeah.
The movement made sure that thing was paid, so y'all can be quiet.
But see, they stopped going with the defund police. What happened to that? And y'all got one of the main persons that's on y'all campaign. It's the defund police. A lot of them guys. Some of the same guys that I see in Paul Vallis camp said F12.
Yep.
The same people.
Yep.
And I know who you are. Don't have me to call your name out.
Come on, Martin. Come on. It's the truth. And like thinking about Jamal Green, because it's gonna be election night on the 4th. On April 4th, on Tuesday is election night. So each camp is gonna have their election night party. I'm definitely gonna be, my face gonna be in the place. I know you gonna be there, Martin.
Oh yeah.
We gonna shindig, baby. That's gonna be a movie. I hope to see everybody that can make it to that event. But election night is gonna have both camps at the election night parties, right? With all the media, with everything there, waiting for the results. How Jamal even make sense that he about to be at a party with Gary McCarthy, the former superintendent of the police who helped cover up Laquan's murder, and Anita Alvarez, the former state's attorney who helped cover up Laquan. How do you even justify being in the same room with them?
Get them out.
Huh?
He marched a protest to get them out.
Thank you. It's ridiculous, and y'all all rubbing elbows. How does that even feel inside your soul?
The 70-year-old sharecropper, he over there with him too. You know what, man? See, I'm telling y'all, people, they afraid. Listen, they are afraid because the CTU, they are powerful and they are aggressive, and they put their money where their mouth is. They willing to take a risk for what they believe in, their values they believe in.
Absolutely.
That's sister. Hold on, let me play this, sister. I gotta play this. Since I got more people on here now, I want to play this real quick because that sister was right. What she said today about them charter schools, I never looked at it like that. And I tell you, that sister was on point. Let me bring that up. That sister was on point. She was on point today, boy. I said, go ahead. I didn't know her name, but she from the CTU, and I'm finna play it.
Y'all know that white people have been trying to figure out how to commodify black life since they said, okay, Emancipation Proclamation. Don't y'all know that? The wealth of this nation was built on the backs of black people, and they still want to get their half measures. Don't y'all know that? So understand what we're against. Understand what we're up against. We're up against white people who say, if you teach black history, white kids' feelings don't get hurt.
Paul Vallis.
Are you kidding me?
Listen to this.
That's Paul Vallis. We're up against white men and white people who say charter schools is the best way to go, but they ain't made Walter Payton charter, Lincoln Park, Lane Tech, Lincoln Elementary, Newberry. If charter schools is the best we got to offer, why they only in black neighborhoods? I'm gonna need y'all to think about that. I'm gonna need y'all to demand more because you deserve it. I'm gonna need us to demand more because we deserve it. Don't y'all know that white people have been trying to figure out how to commodify black life since they said, okay, Emancipation Proclamation? Don't y'all know that? The wealth of this nation was built on the backs of black people, and they still want to get their half measures. Don't y'all know that? So understand what we're against. Understand what we're history, white kids' feelings gonna get hurt.
That's
Are
what
you
we up against.
kidding me? That's Paul Vallis. We up against white men and white people who say charter schools is the best way to go, but
Listen.
they ain't made Walter Payton charter,
Up north, yeah.
Lincoln Park, Lane Tech, Lincoln Elementary, Newberry. If charter schools is the best we got to offer, why they only in black neighborhoods? I'm gonna need y'all to think about that.
Hold it right there, people. I'm gonna hold it right there. I'm gonna hold it right there. My goodness. Listen, people, that is the gospel truth. I tell you, people, this is real. And listen, people, you heard it for yourself. You heard it for yourself. They ain't got it up on the north side in them real affluent areas. Wonder why. But they always putting the untested problems in the black community. You wonder why so many public schools, 200 students in there, 150 students. That's why. That's why. This is real. Listen, people, this thing is real. That sister didn't she let us have it? She told us what's at stake. Listen, this is black history, people, in the making. In the making, trust me. You got faith leaders. You got unions. You got everyday walking people, activists supporting this brother strong, going hard for this brother, going hard for him. I tell you, people, they're afraid. You got to ask yourself, why is it that the Republicans are bagging Paul Vallis? Ask yourself that question. What does they have to gain in this race, in this Democrat race? Ask yourself, why are rich Republicans giving this man millions of dollars? Why? If it ain't about race.
That's right.
Go ahead, Erica.
Yeah, you absolutely right. And she was so on point. And that's why I'm so big on not buying the whole charter school crap and all this stuff, because I am a product, my experience of growing up in the hood, going to an underfunded school in the hood. And then my mama, we moved to a white neighborhood for a short period of time. And I got to go to school in a nice, wealthy white area for a short period of time, but I had to move back to the hood again until my mom could get herself together. And then I moved back to that neighborhood and then back to the hood again. So I went back and forth during my school age years between an underfunded black district and a public school in a wealthy white district. That's my upbringing. And I know firsthand that for some reason, public schools know how to be fabulous for white people.
Mm-hmm.
Public schools know how to be immaculate for them rich white kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't want to hear it, and they just want to charterize, like she was saying, on the black side of town for profit. Why is it that when my zip code changed, my opportunities changed? That's not right, y'all. It's a trick and it's a scam. Them white people ain't sending their kids all these charters and these experiments. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if folks know this, but charter schools were originally created to be just a few, small amount of them, to test out different teaching styles, to be like experimental hubs. So that they could see what kind of good ideas we could come up with to implement into the public schools.
Mm-hmm.
That's why charter schools was originally created. Not to become every school, but once one of these capitalists realized you can make money, that was the end of that. But that's not what charters were originally created to be. They were just supposed to be just out of all the public schools, maybe 3 charters that are just for experimental purposes, to experiment with different ideas, to see how they work, and then the ones that work will be implemented in the public schools. That's what charters were originally designed for. And now they done found out they can make $1 and make a dime,
Make a profit. It's
make
all
a
about
profit off of our people, and that's what's going on, y'all.
Mhm.
That's what's going on. But all our kids is not meant to be no dang experiments.
Let me
for
ask you a
profit.
question, Erica. And the dear sister said it today. She said it so profoundly. Why don't they have it on the north side in them affluent areas in Lincoln Park
Exactly.
Lane? And I never thought about that.
Exactly.
They didn't want
Such
no
a great
test.
point. She made such a great point. Notice, I remember one time, Martin, I was at a protest to keep the Inglewood schools open when they shut
Right.
down all the Inglewood high schools. Remember that?
Right.
And I was with some teachers and some white teachers from Ravenswood, like more wealthy white neighborhoods. And I was telling her how we have a shortage of laptops. We have a shortage of equipment for the kids.
Right.
And you know what she told me? She said, "Are you serious?" She said, "At our school, we have too many laptops." She's like, "As a matter of fact, I locked them in a cabinet because there's a surplus."
Wow.
Yes.
All by design.
All by design. They got too much stuff to the point they got to lock it in cabinets because they don't know where else to put it. And our kids don't got nothing. And it's all public schools. So you can miss me with the fact that our public schools cannot be awesome and cannot be great. It's just time to spread the wealth. It's time to spread the wealth. And the wealthiest people in this city don't want to hear that. And that's why they are flocking to Paul Vallis. They are flocking to Paul Vallis. Because they want to keep power.
Power. Say it, sister. Say it. Please say it.
They want to keep power, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
In the tale of two cities. They want to keep their power. They are terrified of the people getting the power.
Mm-hmm.
Because they know once the people have the power, they ass is grass.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. All power to the people. Yeah. Yeah. For real. And you know what? Listen, a lot of black people, they say, I'm chasing that bag, but the bag can only take you so far. We need somebody to take a pen and write some legislation. That's what we need, right? That's power. Why you think rich men like J.B. Pritzker, Willie Wilson run for office? So they can change things.
That's it.
They can tilt the arrow toward their direction. In the way they're thinking. It's power, people. Don't just be satisfied with a house, a wife, and a big car, and a career. We need power.
Power.
These people and these elected officials, they make decisions for us. Whether it's going to hurt us or harm us. We need to, they said if we're not sitting at the table, well, that means we own the menu.
That's it. And Martin, and oh, by the way, I might have to run in a few. My father just landed on a plane.
Okay.
Back in our hometown, and when they gonna FaceTime me in.
Okay.
So I might have to go. But so one thing I wanted to add to that was that there's a lot of sentiment, particularly in our communities, that like, especially for those that decide they don't want to vote or participate, it's not worth it, that government don't work, right?
Right.
Government don't work. But here's the thing, y'all. Do y'all notice that the government worked perfectly fine for rich people?
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all notice that? The government worked great for the wealthy. They use the government to do all they bidding. It's working like a well-oiled machine for them. So don't that tell y'all something? That the government is absolutely capable of working well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just time to make it work well for us. That's the difference. That's the difference. It's not that the government can't work. And as a matter of fact, the wealthy spend millions of dollars to convince you that the government don't work. Meanwhile, it's working for them perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
So that you don't come out and vote. So that you say, oh, it don't matter. So that you say, oh, forget it. They spend millions of dollars to convince you of that. Meanwhile, the government is working great for them.
Mm-hmm.
Don't fall for it, people.
And the
And
government.
I saw a comment said the government is not for black people. Listen, the government should be owned by black people.
Mhm.
See, what y'all need to understand, see, I study different countries. I do international work, by the way. I've been to the United Nations and Switzerland. I've been in Europe. I've traveled the world to do this work. And in my travels, I've learned a lot about how other countries function compared to us. And let me tell y'all something about France, for example. I heard it once said, you know, France has guaranteed paid vacation days for every workers. You know how many guaranteed paid vacation days you get in France as a worker, Martin?
How many?
A month.
Oh, wow. Okay.
4 weeks. And then on top of that, if you don't use it, you don't lose it. It goes into a bank. There's people with 80 paid vacation days in France. That's unheard of in this country. If you tell somebody in France that in America you get 0 guaranteed paid vacation days, they would look at you in shock.
Erica.
Because they think America is the it.
Erica, do me a favor. You got your phone in front of you. Answer this question. This one, Chris Saylor, whoever this is, answer the question. But now they are not quit. That's that a white part. This got to be a white person talking like this anyway. You see the screen?
Yeah.
Go ahead, read it.
With the "Oh Poor Us," opportunity and power is available to all who work hard. Don't believe this youngster's rhetoric. You want results? Go up. Oh my God. Okay. So
no, but before you say anything, let me just say this. There's not one rich person in this country that ever got rich by themselves.
That's it. Come on, Martin.
That's all I want to say, and I'm gonna let you go, Erica. Not one rich person that ever became rich in this country got it by themselves.
That's it.
Somebody helped them to get there.
That's it. Sister. This type of mentality right here, Chris Sello, whoever you are, is exactly the problem. Mm-hmm. Just go get it for yourself. Just go get it for yourself. Go get the bag. Go work hard. Get it for yourself. Get it for yourself. Well, the last time I checked, Chris, no matter what bag I get, I got to still live around other people. And if them other people ain't got crap, guess whose stuff they gonna want to take? Mine. Who wants to live in a society where don't nobody barely got nothing except for you? Because that's a dangerous society to live in. You can barely enjoy what you got because you always got to look over your shoulder for the next person that don't got nothing. Aren't we tired of that? Aren't we tired of that? Rather, let me tell you an experience, Martin, that's gonna blow your mind. So when I was in Switzerland, right? Mm-hmm. Switzerland has one of the best, cleanest public transit systems I've ever seen. There was no people sleeping on the streets. I barely saw a homeless person, and they have a much more equitable system there. And we were at the beach, and now, mind you, it's Switzerland, so ain't nothing but completely lily white people everywhere. And it was a bunch of us black folks because we was there fighting for reparations at the United Nations. So a bunch of black folks from America surrounded by all these white Swiss people. And tell me why this lady came with her baby carriage and her son to get in the water. They left their stuff, and she took off her wedding ring. It was like a diamond ring or something of value. And she put it on a pillar that was sitting on the beach, like by the sidewalk, and then went in the water. Mm. And I just I sat there stunned for a moment. Like, why in the world does this woman feel so comfortable leaving her diamond ring on a public pillar at a beach to go swim? And I literally was watching her ring more than she was, just watching for her. And do you know, not a person even looked at it. I was watching, Martin, for eyes on it, somebody to notice it. People just kept on walking by, I was shocked. But then I realized something, Martin. Them people wasn't starving. Mm-hmm. Them people had what they needed. Their needs were met. They lived decent lives. They weren't desperate. And they was at the beach to enjoy themselves.
Thank you. Hold it right there. I got Dr. Sanders. I tried to bring Dr. Sanders in on the screen. Dr. Sanders, you didn't want to come in on the screen? Dr. Sanders.
I'm sitting on the Restream studio.
You ain't.
Can you hear me?
Okay, hold on. But hold on. Let me check, because I didn't see you on my messenger. I hear you on the phone, but I don't see you on my messenger. And I mean, I sent you the link to come in.
Yeah, I did, but for some reason, I can see myself, but I can't see you.
I don't even see you on my screen, so you didn't go all the way through with it or something. Because I got Erica on here, because I could take like 3. Yeah.
3 people.
Yeah, I can take 3, 4, 10 people.
Yeah, it says my browser's not being supported.
Use Safari instead of Google Chrome.
Oh.
Use Safari. That happened to me too.
Okay.
Copy and paste the link.
Okay, well,
and put it in your Safari browser instead.
I can resend the link.
Let me do this here.
Yeah, so you got to copy the link and put it in Safari.
We'll wait on you. But listen, I want to say too, a lot of people in this country that got wealth didn't get it by themselves.
That's it.
And people don't think all that hard working, you ain't gonna just work hard and just get it all by yourself. I don't care if you come up with an idea. Somebody gotta make that product.
Yep.
Somebody gotta pack it, distribute it, all that. So you don't do everything by yourself. See, a lot of people don't understand. Just like a Colombian drug lord, that drugs is passed. It's got to be processed. You got to pay people to process it. Yeah. You got to pay people to bring it into a smuggling in another country. Then you got to find people that's going to sell it, distribute it. It's so many ways to be made money off of it, people. You're not going to make. There you go, Dr. Sanders. I hear you. I hear you now. I hear you. I hear you now. I don't see you, but your camera, I don't see your camera, but I hear you. You get your camera working, Doc.
There you go.
I see it, but I don't see a camera, a face.
Oh, you gotta hit the camera button to make sure it doesn't have an X on it.
Right. She got to do that. Not me.
But yeah, Martin, you are absolutely right. And that's the thing that these people with this capitalist indoctrination in this country don't understand, with this get the bag. What you just said, you don't make that kind of money by yourself. And the thing that we need to understand is all those workers, all those people that do help make you money. Hold
on, Dr. Sanders, I've seen it for a minute, disappeared.
Yeah, I saw you for a minute too, Dr. Sanders.
It disappeared. Got to fix your camera. You good. Yeah.
But yeah. But
she went out again. Go ahead.
But yeah, those people that help you make that money, those are the people that go back to the neighborhoods. Those are the people that go back to the communities that need the money to help to fund the communities, to be able to be present parents where they don't got to work second and third shift to make ends meet.
Sanders, I'm loving them eyebrows now. You know.
Hey, Dr. Sanders.
I'm loving them eyebrows, girl. Look at you, girl. I'm gonna tell Pastor on you now.
Hey, Dr. Sanders.
I see you, Dr. Sanders. Look at them eyebrows. All right.
I can't hear you now.
We can't hear you. Turn your volume up. Turn your volume up.
Unmute your mic.
Unmute your mic. Unmute your mic. Unmute your mic. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. You got to unmute your mic and you'll be all right. Unmute your mic. Turn your volume up.
Press the little microphone button and make sure it don't have an X over it.
She might be on a cell phone. Let me cut you off the cell phone. So
I'm on my cell phone. It's like a little button at the bottom.
Yeah, cut your cell phone off. Cut off the phone line. We did it before, so we haven't did it in a while. Dr. Sanders got the eyebrows cut. Yeah, I don't hear you, but you hear me. Tell Pastor I said hi. No, I can't hear you. We can't hear you yet. You got to get your sound.
You got to get your sound together.
Fine, you could get your sound together. Okay. Well, just talk through the telephone. Then you can stay online. Just talk through the telephone. Stay right there. Just talk through the telephone. Just talk through the telephone. Talk through the telephone. I can't hear you on the phone. Just talk through your telephone.
She probably just needs
you
to
hear me?
press.
Yeah, I can hear
We
you.
hear you now.
But we can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. There you
we
go.
hear you now.
There you go, Doc.
There you
All
go.
right, Doc.
Hey, Dr. Sanders.
Hey, little baby girl, how you doing? How you
Good.
doing?
I know. Hey, Erica, talk
Well,
out
I
ear.
don't know. Y'all wouldn't text your ass. I said I was tired.
Okay.
I
Okay.
said, let me do my texturized look. That way, I'm
Mm.
good for the summer.
All
You
right.
look good, Dr. Sanders.
Don't she? Don't she?
Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you. Yeah, well, once again, we back on Brandon Johnson.
That's right. So,
Back on Brandon Johnson.
And-
So, yeah, I missed it. Eric was talking about the charter school. There was one that I used to work at, which was called Wrightwood on 83rd and California. And the first person was over there was a black man. I forgot his name, but he was in the prison system and came out and got his education, became a principal. Erica is speaking of what is true, because you didn't have to have a type 75 to be a teacher in charter school. Don't. If you had a degree, you could teach, but you didn't have to have a type certificate like CPS to have a type 75 in order to teach. They have a different curriculum than Chicago public schools. Much different, because my granddaughters are in charter school at CICS Avalon. That's where they're at. And they have a different curriculum, and a lot of those students it's out of their range of learning with the curriculum. When Paul Vallis decided to want to flip over that contract with the teachers union, that is what got him in the real pickle, and I don't mean deal, with the CTU union. He literally messed everything up, and that's why they don't like him right now, because he's substituting it again. So a lot of people that don't understand the difference between charter schools and public schools, they're not on the same accreditation at all.
Yeah.
If you leave out of one school, you will lose the credit with CPS, meaning that you are only going to get a half of an elective. You will not be able to get a full credit for the elective. And I learned that when Kathleen first went to the University of Woodlawn Charter School, because when I transferred her out to go to Hyde Park, they said, well, that's only considered a half a credit. She would have to go to summer school to do the other part or take an additional class. So that means she would have from 8 o'clock in the morning to almost 4 o'clock. That's how they see. A lot of parents don't understand that. And they say, oh, my child going to a better charter school. You don't know how that system works.
Yeah.
So a lot of times the kids that stay in the public school, they can go straight on through with no problem. But University of Woodlawn Charter School plus other schools, you will not be able to graduate. You'll be taking more classes or summertime. You'll be wasting your summer doing the summer, doing summer school, all that kind of stuff. So a lot of parents, Erica, they don't know.
They don't.
They don't know. And this is where confusion starts. So if you are not a parent that's on board with your child's learning ability, you're going to always be pulling your child in and out, in and out, in and out. And by the time they get to 8th grade, they don't have enough credits to graduate, then they got to go to summer school.
That's it. You're right, Dr.
You know what I mean?
Sanders. You're absolutely right. And I wanted to add to that the way that the charter schools operate too. Like I was saying, they were originally designed to be experimental hubs that were a very small few.
Mm-hmm.
to help test out ideas that would then be implemented in the public schools. So the few parents that were willing to have their child be a part of the experiment have, you know, you have a choice. You could be like, I want my child to be a part of this experiment. And that's fine. But it was supposed to be limited. It was supposed to be very few. And then the experiments that went with, I'm a social scientist. I'm all for experiments. I'm all for testing things because that's how we come up with good ideas. But it was never supposed to be all of it. It was never supposed to be so many. It was just supposed to be a hub to test out things and like, wow, this works. This is brilliant. And then guess what? That idea then goes to the public schools that have accreditation, that have a school board, that have accountability to the public. You know, like that's what charters were supposed to do. And they took advantage of it for money, period.
Dr. Sanders, real quick. And the sister said something profound. I know you was on here. Why they don't have it up on the north side, them affluent areas, them charter schools?
They ain't finna come. They're not bringing that stuff in there. You know, it's like the Chamber of Commerce. You got to okay the reason and the purpose why you're going to bring that over there. The furthest the charter school goes downtown, and they got quite a few downtown in the loop coming back this way. But those north siders are not going to have secondary schools coming in the community because they don't need it. You know, you got one CPS public school that's right off the lakefront up north. They don't have no problem. Disney.
I know about Disney, yeah.
You know they're not going to have it up there. It's order. They're not bringing that stuff up north. They don't mind experiment, like Erica said, on the south side, the west side, the southeast side, the southwest side, but they're not going to do that up north. They're not going to have that. Some people don't want that. For what? Those parents are on board up north. They go to the council meetings. They're not having that. Them taxpayers not paying that. They're not doing that. They don't want it up there.
And to touch on what you're saying, Dr. Sanders, see, like you're absolutely right. They don't, because they already have such a system for their children that works, right? It works and it's successful. So I personally, if charters were what they were originally designed to be, just like a very select few, I personally think it could have been a good idea because our children have such diverse needs. You know, they're Black, they come from divested communities. And I think it would have been a good idea to have just a few schools where we could test out some new ideas that's catered to our children and what they need and their trauma and their struggles, and like really test out some things that may not be cookie cutter like the white kids need. You know, so I would have been okay with that. Just like a couple of charters, 2 or 3 or whatever, to experiment with some of those ideas and then implement the ones that work into the public schools. I don't see a problem with that because our kids are not like those what the white kids need. And because we need to start experimenting, we need to start testing some different ideas out of how to reach our children specifically. But it was never designed to be like this. It was never designed to be like this. They done took it overboard because they saw they could make $1 and a dime.
I got a call on the line. Go ahead, Pastor Reb the Barber. Go ahead. Reb the Barber. Go ahead. Reb the Barber.
Hey, everybody. I'm here. Y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. Go ahead.
Y'all hear?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm listening in. I had an incident where my 16-year-old son. I had a learning experience. He came from Indiana public schooling here to Chicago public schooling, and it was just a transfer pretty much. And at this time is around in the pandemic, and all the kids at this time, I believe it was in 2020, 21, was a year behind already because we brought them back from off of that year out of school the way they was out of school through the pandemic. So when I took him to Corliss, you know, and one of the things to mention first and foremost that I see that these schools in Chicago now in our communities are mostly STEAM academies, which makes them selective schooling. And we'll get into that because I saw in the PAC meeting and I learned more about the disadvantage unto our kids for that. But my son wasn't able to get into Cordless coming from Elkhart, Indiana, and the base of where he needed to be. He had the credits, probably one short, but they took away half of credit of every credit he had for each class. Because Chicago only accepts half a credit, and Indiana was accepting whole credit. So that took him a year and some behind, maybe 2 years behind. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, he worked so hard. I had to put him inside of one of the alternative academies up here. You know what I'm saying? But what bothered me is how they don't have no respect for the base of the education of our children in our community. So I'm listening to you guys talking about the charter. And yeah, there is a lot of charter schools, but not only is there a lot of charter schools, do I believe, but they have picked up the program of what charter schools curriculum is about and placed it inside of Chicago public schools. So most of these schools now that's on the aftermath are still open. They are now STEAM academies. They are now engineer technology academies. They just have the same school name under the same Chicago public school system. You know, so when your kids is in there, they're really, you know what I'm saying, and needless to say, they're not caught up to the technology that they put inside the program and testing they put inside the program because they're not even learning of it. They put that system already inside the school. But because of our parents not inside these PAC meetings saying, hey, we don't want that, hey, why is our kids testing like that? Hey, you know what I'm saying, why are the teachers not coming to school? Why are they, you know what I'm saying, things like that? Then they can just do whatever they want to do. So we are really in an era of oppression inside of our school system with education, I believe, also. And yes, y'all right. I see the charter schools everywhere, and you also see the charter program inside of Chicago Public Schools through the STEAM and technology system that they have in there also, which is once again privatized. The stakeholders are private investors, you know what I'm saying, that's now with their hands inside the Chicago public school system. That's one thing I believe that Brennan Johnson will also, if he has the opportunity, doing something about too. So people could say that CTU have nothing to do with that. It's what the system of the fifth floor has done and all the deals that they have made. And what I would believe, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to the risk of our children's education.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Reb. Dr. Sanders, go ahead.
Well, I don't know, in the addition to what he was saying, when I taught in the Christian school, they were totally different. Our children went to the Christian school at one time, and their curriculum was different. We were using Alpha Omega publication, which the state does not fund Christian schools. It's totally privatized by parents and tuition. That's how they did it. When Ralph Ellison, Wrightwood, Longwood, and it was another school, Avalon, all of them are under that charter program, and they're totally different. Because when I saw the curriculum for my granddaughter, it was totally different. When you decide to want to take the children out, you need to talk to them and say, okay, what will my child lose? Because they're on a different scale. You know, when you stay in public school, you stay in public school. No problem. But when you switch off, you have to ask, even when you go to Catholic school. You know, like Leo, you know, Brother Rice, you have to see where their curriculum, where their accreditation level is. A lot of folks don't know this, but Eric, I think you do. When you go to a university, they ask you for your transcript. You know why? They run it through a database, which is a national accreditation system, to see if you have enough credit to attend that school. If that school is not nationally accredited, you're going to lose, and you have to start all over again. I learned that when I went to St. Xavier University, because there were certain classes that was not nationally accredited that I would have to take over. Same thing with
Would you say that that's fair?
Daniel started.
Would you say that that's fair, Dr. Sanders? Would you say that's fair?
Which one?
He said, would you say that's fair?
Would you say that that's fair? That policy, that rule. Would you say that's fair?
You know what? This is the thing. Every school is registered through the National Accreditation System, but there are only certain schools that would take certain credits. So let's say, for instance, like my son Giselle went to college. He went to Kennedy King. He wanted to get, first he said culinary, then he switched to business. But he had to let the Paul University know through his transcript what courses were nationally accredited. You can have a math accreditation and one of them will not be approved because a lot of those schools don't look at it as real credit. It's almost like a ghost credit. So, and this is what you learn. So the prerequisite, that you do the 2 years, that is so important to know from the junior college because everything from junior college cannot be transferred into university. That's what I'm saying. When it comes to CPS, Daniel went to CPS, and then when I had the situation with the chief thing, I pulled him in K through 12, which is homeschool. Daniel didn't lose no credit. That was the first thing I said. K through 12 said he would not lose anything. I was homeschooling him. So when I got ready to put him in perspective because he wanted to get an athletic, department, of course, K through 12 don't have athletic department. His stuff transferred evenly because perspective, I was sitting on the board and I also did their licensing for last year. I petitioned for them to get the license last year. Because every charter school that comes into existence, they have to report to CPS. That's where they get their license from. They don't do it on their own.
Now look, and don't mean to cut you off. Now look, there's a reason why I asked that question because you just answered my question. I believe that it's unfair the way that they treat when it comes to these ghost credits as in when you would speak. Mm-hmm. You being accredited as an educator, going through the requirements and curriculum that you had to get to the point to self-educate your child at home. And you were able to take the transcript or whatever it was needed. Let's say it wasn't even transcript. If your child was able to test to get inside of a certain grade at the time that you set up there and you enter him and register into a public school, charter school, whatever school it was, if he was able to meet that grade, that proved that he was learning. That proved that he was at the level where he was. He wasn't a K or a first grader going to a ninth grade. No, he was at the ninth grade level. So my thing is those credits, it's unfair because just like they zone off, they zone off things. Hell, they tell you when you could put a business. They tell you when you could put a church. They tell you what's a residence and what's business. So the thing is, they doing the same thing with our children's education. They're zoning off who can get the accreditation. These schools that's placed in a certain, how would you say it, locations in America are placed there for certain reasons. And their power to accept the credits that they want to accept are doing it. They can use it through the prejudice of a child. It could be a national credit, and they can find a reason to say it's not national enough for them to receive the credit. You know what I'm saying? I believe that it's unfair to be able to do that because you have so many technicalities that can sit up there and stop our kid. And right now, it's facing, as I was speaking about it, it's facing our kids here in that No Child Left Behind zone here in Chicago, Illinois, or all around America, as you would say. But here in Chicago, Illinois, being a sanctuary city, it was able to what we call segregate by closing down even high schools in certain areas. You know what I'm saying? And not only do they sit up there and kill two birds with one stone by allowing violence to evaporate around certain areas because kids got to get safety from here to here, out inside the schools, but the education requirements for them to be into selective schools. The kids right now that's testing, right? And they don't know that they're not going to be qualified in certain schools because they don't meet the test requirement score. That's coming out of grammar school. You know what I'm saying? Now that's coming out of grammar school. So a kid want to get inside of Simeon, a kid want to get in one of these prestige schools, as they was called it, in STEAM academies. They're not qualified to get in there, and then they'll sit up there and they'll let them put them in the school that they want to put them in, which is one of them abandoned down, redeeming schools that got the selective charter programs like Bowen High School. Bowen High School ain't all the Bowen High School no more. You know what I'm saying? And they put all the kids in there, and now when it comes to the time for them to meet their credits and everything at the end, you know what I'm saying, they got to do so much because they got to meet. Once again, it's not even about the state, like y'all said, and we all agreeing. I'm just knowing the certain dynamics of it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They make it to the point. It's not the state.
Hold it right there, Rev.
It's the stakeholders. It's the privatizer. It's the investors and all that.
Okay. All right. Dr. Sanders, when did you come on here? Go ahead. When did you come on here, Dr. Sanders?
Come on here again.
Yeah, tonight.
Your clock on?
Yeah. What time did you come on? Because I wanted to. It was a lady from the teachers union today. She was blowing a trumpet today, and she was talking about the school system and all types of stuff. I mean, she was just and come and find out. One of the ladies, we was neighbors, right across from. So she big time in the teachers union. So I said, "Oh, okay." She's a doctor such as yourself, yeah. And after the program, I seen them in Hat Park. They was talking to people. A lot of people hitting the ground for Brandon Johnson. He got a lot of warriors on his side, Dr. Sanders. He have a lot of warriors.
Well, this is the thing. Parents, when I went to Catholic school, I was educated in our diocese up until 6th grade. I made a double from 6 to 8 to public school. When I got ready to go to 8th grade, it was a culture shock because I was in Catholic school. There was just a lot of things we didn't do that public school, students were doing. When my school, Paul Cornell, was torn down over on 35th and Drexel, that school was 100 years old. My cousins had gone to that school. The lady next door to my cousin's house, she was 98 years old. That school was old. But what Chicago Public School told us that we had an opportunity to go to any school, be it non-qualifying credit or what. You had to have, now for sure, at Kenwood, I used to call it the After 5 school because everybody was a really high mighty, high severity. Martin, you know what I'm talking about. The Kenwood didn't like High Park.
No, not at all.
But you had they didn't like them. You know it, Martin. But you had to have a 9.0 at Kenwood. And it was a hard school to get into.
Yeah, very hard.
Kenwood Academy was not like King. Was not like Hyde Park. Not like, Bogan and, Corliss. But that's when I started learning about the credit, was in high school. Because a lot of these credits that we get, what it is this. Let me go here. When you want a good job in corporate America, corporate America have a certain way that you ought to have educationally wise, you should know. One of my dear friends is an accountant out in Dalton. He went to Oxford, all the elite schools, because of corporate America look at certain universities. That's why a lot of folks don't know. It's hard for your child to get in the school that you think you want. Now, they had to break down the barriers because it was racial profile. Because they wouldn't let me in a whole bunch of kids, black kids. Now what they've done over the years, they're allowing the kids to take college credits while they're in their sophomore, junior, and senior year. So by the time they get to their freshman year, they're not going to be in school that long because they've already, but it depends on what you're going for. Daniel did that. My son did that. And he had half scholarship, 4.5 over. And the school is at Iowa State is a technical university mini elite.
Mm.
A lot of parents don't know that. But this is why when parents get upset, they get mad at the teachers. Well, your petition should be with the state because the state allow a lot of things go on that is not. My cousin was a testing administrator at Kennedy County College before she retired. And she knew what she told me this, Reverend and Martin. She said, why is it when the students come from high school to the junior college, they can't even pass the entrance exam
Wow.
in the junior college? They are not prepared. They're not prepared. So their dreams go unnoticed anymore. They can't pass the basic skill test, the entry level class. Yeah, a lot. That's why they was having those class examinations coming in, so they can place you to see what level you are at. What were you learning in school? Can you be able to do? And it's beyond algebra, pre-algebra. It's beyond all of that. Your reading comprehension. See those ISAT scores that they be taking? That determines where your child is at. Erica was talking about those laptops. When CPS got the pandemic money, a lot of them got used, refurbished laptops. I know that for a fact. Because we got it. And so the kids, we have Aspen. We have several different types of learning programs in the system. And a lot of the kids are not there. See, I work with special ed, so a lot of them, they don't meet the criteria. A lot of kids are failing. If you failed in high school, guess what happened? You got switched over to Olive Harvey for the alternative program, and you had to pay $300 to go get your high school diploma because you were not reading at that level. Now let's go to Evergreen and Oakland. If you are out there, there's no such thing as you failing. Those parents go to meetings. Those parents raise sand in the desert. Our Black parents, a lot of them don't do that. They just say, oh, people like, no, but you don't understand the system. That's why when they give you the results of those testing scores, you need to be familiar with how your child is being tested. Because the teachers know that your student is not capable of learning things because they weren't taught that. So when they get ready to go to junior college, they can't pass the basic entrance exam. They weren't taught it. Eighth grade teaches you what you need to learn as a freshman. By the time you get to your senior year, you should know all of the curriculums that would allow you to get into a university. Because certain universities are criteria and high accreditation. And if you don't meet that, you will not get scholarship. You will not get funding. But they had to change it to some students because a lot of them ended up going to trade school. It's all in what the parents don't understand. And you can't put it all on the teachers.
Not the teachers, but the education system. That's why I would say not the teachers, but the education system. The teachers work for the education system. If there's anyone that will partner up in a phenomenon, it would be teachers and parents. So I mean, like when I speak of the education system, because most of the time, tell me, really, if we analyze all the schools, how many good teachers are in the city of Chicago, and where are they sitting, and what schools are they located? We understand the parent system. We know it's so much that kids face other than parents, especially the ones that don't have parents. So you're talking about that mental state right there that's taking away the true focus of education, period. But how can you focus on something that you can't even get interested in? Let alone not only are you being interested in it, but at the same time, if you went to Simeon last year and went inside some of the classrooms and did a statistic analysis on the teachers and their absentees inside the school, you'll find out Simeon had more days without teachers in the classroom or with substitutes in the classroom, but it's prestige school to be known for sports. You know what I'm saying? Are we really saying that it's not the teacher's fault? Everybody play a role in it, but I blame the educational system because the educational system is the overall administrator on making sure that the kids get the rightful education. You know what I'm saying? And then the education that they're getting is not for the sake of the kids, our future. It's not like most of the 9 times out of 10, the tests that they're taking, all the curriculums and the new formulas that they're solving problems with that we wasn't solving problems with. Like division is different than it was when we was in school. You know what I'm saying? But they said it all makes up to the same answer. Our kids is passing these tests with flying colors. I know a young lady that graduated top of the line inside of Gwendolyn Brooks. I know kids that's very, very, very educated. But at the same time, the system is against them too. That's what I just truly believe. Not blaming it all on teachers, not blaming it all on parents, but on the educational system that we really can't adjust to. Because it's always changing for the betterment of self-desire when it comes back to the ones that have the power of your kids' education. That's the ones with the power of the pocket, the investors, the stakeholders. You know what I'm saying? Those are the ones that they sit up there and they please when they sit up there, they get all this funding. So they decide whether their kids' school can get funded or not.
That Gwendolyn Brooks School used to be Mendel Catholic School. The all boys college, high school at the time. That wasn't just
it's
put there.
That was school. It's hard. It's one of those schools that's one of the most hardest schools to get in.
Yeah, it's
but
very
you got
hard.
Black kids, predominant Black kids inside that school. Graduating,
yeah, the thing of it is
colors from that school.
This is why you have to take it to Springfield. You have these are the meetings that parents don't come to. They don't. So the small percentage that actually are involved, and the parents' job, and listen, let me explain something to you. And I told one of my parents years ago, we give you the curriculum, we teach the students. We send homework home, which is a reinforcement of what you learn in school. If you're not helping your child, then that double indemnity of help falls back on us because the child don't understand, because most of these parents are not helping their babies.
Parents don't know none about the curriculum or formulas today.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand it. And some of them don't really even care, and some of them don't really give a rat's tail. So the thing of it, and I've seen that happen in PTA meetings. I remember a student she was IEP all the way, but she's also a foster girl.
Yeah.
And she ran her mouth, she had behavior problems, and we had to keep disciplining her, and then they didn't know how to write. All they wanted to do was tell her. But the parents have to get involved because it's more pressure on the educators. That's why they brought us in. Teachers are really just, we help the students who are special ed. The IEPs tell us what their background is, what they've accomplished, what they can test in, what they can test out, what the ability of change, because IEPs can stay the same or it can decrease or increase. But it all depends on how their student is learning. And majority of the students need tutoring. That's why CPS opened up a portal for tutors to come to help the students. I know that. They pay them $20 an hour with 4 hours a day, 40 days a week, and they do the best they can, to try to help. But these are things that we have to address. And Paul,
once we can see all these schools that we see.
Yeah.
Once we see all these schools. Oh, I hear you. And I know I believe in what you're saying.
Yeah.
So if only you could see the schools that's not doing the things that you say is available for these students. I know a school that have after school programs, and it's not nothing about education. It's about the kids have nothing to do. First of all, the teachers want to get off of work because they've been there 6 hours. You know what I'm saying? They really trying to get out of there on payday or that Friday. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, so only time that they do get that education is when it's time for that testing. So they'll sit up there and they'll pause or suspend the after-school activities of doing nothing and make the kids or the teachers stay behind and test the students or get the students prepared for a test that they should have been prepared for all school year. So I hear what's supposed to be available, but I see what's not available.
Mm-hmm.
So you ask questions about the administration, because sometimes the principal ain't got all the power that we think that the principal got. Because as I read the principal manual, you know what I'm saying, they get voted in or voted out too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like people got to care it in the whole body.
All right, y'all, we're going to end it here now.
The principals have petition to get their...
Go ahead, Dr. Sanders. Go.
Yeah, they're getting ready to have their own union because they're not...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to get ready to end it right here. We've been on an hour and a half. I just wanted to get on here and talk about the school today. We talked about Brandon Jones earlier, but this is real serious. Maybe, Dr. Sanders, we can get on here one day and just strictly talk about the curriculum in schools and stuff. You know, we need to, our parents need to learn some things instead of just dropping the babies off and keep going. Don't know who none of their teachers are. You know, then when a teacher try to counsel you about your son or daughter, you want to fight the teacher. We got to do better, people. We have to be more concerned with our children's education, because we got enough drill rappers. We got enough shooters and carjackers. We need some educators, people that's going to learn, be civilized. You know, we need that. We definitely need that. Learn how to read at an appropriate age. You know, you don't want to be 25. You can't read 7th grade or 6th grade level. That's just too much. People put a contract in front of you, you wouldn't know how to read it. You wouldn't know how to sign it. Nothing like that. So
No, you wouldn't.
we need to learn how to read. And that I used to tell my children, there's no shortcut of learning how to read. You just have to keep reading, keep reading, keep reading. Open up your dictionary, learn words, read, see what the meaning of words. Just don't assume it. Just look them up, and it'll help you. Yeah. So.
And mind, let me say this before you get off.
Okay.
When I taught first and second grade class curriculum, I taught 2 classes. The first graders had a half session with me, and I had a full session with second graders. When it came to the math, guess what I did? I asked my students, how many of y'all like money?
Mm-hmm.
I said, but do you know what money means? They knew more about how many channels of a cable network than they did about anything else. So what I did was I went to the store, bought money, pretend money, and bought items. I said, now I'm going to show you how your parents shop. And so I showed them that. Then I showed them about the difference between a career and a job. I broke it down where they can understand it. They understood very well. I said, so when you get an allowance, what do you do with your allowance? Oh, I would buy me some candy. I said, but you don't save your money? And they look, I said, saving means put it away. Where you can really want something, you can be able to have it. So when I started breaking down a career and a job, guess what? They understood, because they said, well, I want the money that pays a career. I don't want a job that pays what. And I said, and I broke it all the way down. I broke it down. I said, when you have a career, you can buy a house, you can do this, and I broke it all the way down. And they's like, man, I thought my mama had a lot of money. I said, well, no, they have a job. You got to think about what the difference is. I brought that to the table with those students. I did. You know why? Because I know they didn't know. And I would take the little table and sit with them and have a conversation with them. And they enjoyed that. They really did. So as a mother, I worked as an educator. But I'm going to tell you this, a lot of parents, you all are not fair, because the schools had these kids, 6.5, 7 hours a day?
Mm-hmm.
But then when homework comes, I made sure every week, because I knew that students would not take notes home, I had cleanup, get the desk open. I want to find notes. Guess what? After 2 weeks, I didn't find them on notes. But what I had more problems was a lot of drama that parents was going on at home. They were not together. It was arguing, fussing, and fighting. Who goes to the kids? And the parents don't want to come get their children. So that we can't do what we need to do, because we are sitting back waiting on you.
Okay. I'm going to leave it right there. I shall return tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be
All
on.
right.
I'll be on 106.3 between 4 and 5 tomorrow. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Reb. Thank you, Dr. Sanders. Thank you, Erica. Thank all my wonderful people that comment in the box, those that are trolls and those that are great followers. Thank you so much. Don't forget, Punch 5 to stay alive, Brandon Johnson. That's what we are for this channel right here. Appreciate it. Appreciate you, Monique. Monique McCoy, I see you. I see you. Good night. Good night. Good night. Y'all already know what it is.
You already know what it is.
What is
live, uncut, unedited.
This is where we
tell the truth and shame the devil.
Now, I don't know about you, but
I love being.
I don't know about you, but
I love being black.
What?
I love being black.
Make it say that again.
I love being black.